Welcome back, and of course, we are very grateful to Lipton Tea for bringing us the health segment. Now, yesterday we talked about thyroid diseases, the most common of them being goiter, which we are all very familiar with, but we were unable to exhaust all the issues. So, Dr. Bote, being as kind as he is back again to educate us some more about thyroid diseases. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Sam.
We hope you had a good sleep yesterday.
Yeah, I had a good sleep.
Okay, another night shift for you last night?
No.
Okay, so we are well refreshed and good to go.
That's right.
Okay, so today what I'd like us to do is to do a quick recap of everything that we discussed yesterday. And then, of course, we'll go on to talk about what we were unable to discuss. And a bit later on in the show, we'll activate the phone line so that our viewers will be able to phone in and share whatever problems they have. And then hopefully you'll be able to help us with that. Okay, so Doc, if we can do a quick recap about what we discussed yesterday and then move on to the other issues that we were unable to get into.
Yeah, yesterday we were talking about the thyroid. We talked about where it is in your body, that it's basically on your windpipe. It's a butterfly-shaped gland that produces hormones we call thyroxine, which is T4, and also triiodothyroid and T3. These hormones are released from the thyroid gland into your blood, onto your circulation, and it controls your metabolism. Make sure that everything in your body is going on at the right pace, as long as they are in the right quantities. And we also said that the thyroid gland takes information from above. There's a pituitary gland in your brain that sends a stimulus, thyroid stimulating hormone, to tell the thyroid there's a decrease in amount of T3 or T4, so produce more. And that also takes information from even higher up in the hypothalamus. So this is a chain of command. It's basically a chain of command. Now, when anything goes wrong, then there will be a problem. Anything should go on with the chain of command, where instead of taking instructions from above, the thyroid begins to take instructions from maybe your system.
From the body, other parts of the body.
So we're talking about the Graves' disease, which we said is an autoimmune disease. The instruction is not coming from the pituitary to tell the thyroid to produce more, but then your body's has produced some antibodies, we call it thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins, that are like backdoor. They are working from the back door, stimulating the thyroid to produce its own T3. So in that case, the amount of thyroid stimulating hormone from the pituitary is even low, yet there's so much of thyroid hormones in your body, and then putting your body into overdrive. In this case, sometimes you may have a clear swelling, but sometimes you may not even have the swelling, but then your body is in overdrive. And I mean, from what the lady was saying, she was talking about she getting up in the morning, everybody asking her about her eye. She's talking about she wakes up, she's tired, she's always sweaty, your palm is always warm, you're always feeling moist. Even if you are in a room and everybody is, the temperature here is okay, the slightest heat you cannot tolerate. So we say you are heat intolerant, you can't tolerate heat at all. A little heat, you are just all over the place. This is because your metabolism is just in overdrive, and because of that, because things are breaking down too quickly, and you begin to lose weight. You lose extreme weight, and then somebody might even think that you have some condition that may be associated with heat loss and weight loss. So that we said was about hyperthyroidism. Now, if the thyroid gland should swell up, as in the case where we have goiters, which is because goiter is because of deficiency in iodine. So with a deficiency in iodine, you may have the gland trying to enlarge to be able to pick up more iodine. So that's where you have the enlargement. So that's a goiter. With a goiter, you may or may not have normal levels of the T3, T4. You may have the goiter, and yet your levels of T3, T4 will be normal.
Fine. Apart from the swelling, is there any other symptoms that you can associate with goiter?
Yeah, apart from the visible swelling, that is the goiters. That is what people can clearly see. But for most people, because they have hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism, and they do not have a clear swelling, sometimes the diagnosis is missed. And then they be you treated probably for, you have a high pulse rate, your heart is beating too fast. We are not really getting it. But only for you to do a test and realize that it is because the thyroid is in overdrive or it's in slow drive. And when you come to the thyroid gland, when it's enlarged in the case of a goiter, you realize that the mass is, when you try to swallow, you see this movement of this mass up on your neck. I'm not talking of your Adam's apple.
Apple.
No, but it sits the thyroid sits below your Adam's apple. If I should swallow, you see my Adam's apple move up. I'm talking of a different mass that sometimes comes just a little there, and sometimes it's very huge. For some people, it's so monstrous. It's so huge. It looks like a hole all around the neck. Now, for the person who has just a goiter, with every other thing being normal, the person's eyes will be okay. But then because of the goiter, the compression on the larynx and the voice box may be affected, because as the gland is enlarging, it's also compressing within. So both enlargement outside and enlargement inside can cause compression. So sometimes difficulty in breathing, difficulty in speaking, or hoarseness of voice, or difficulty in breathing, some of the things that come with a goiter, and it makes life uncomfortable, and you may want to do surgery too.
About it. Okay, before we go on, let's go to the phone lines and speak with Pat. Good morning, Pat. Hello.
Good morning, young lady.
Good morning. How are you, Pat?
Hello.
Yes, Pat.
I'm fine, thank you.
Please go ahead.
I've got thyroid myself.
Okay.
I had it for about 23 years now. But my problem is, I'm taking thyroxine, but I'm putting on weight. So I want the doctor to advise me on that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pat. So, she's had it for 23 years. Does that mean that the disease is not curable?
Well, it's curable. Depending on what we have, it's curable. Now, she says she has thyroid.
Yes.
As we said, we have goiter, we have hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism.
Yes.
For hypothyroidism, which the commonest which starts on autoimmune, we call it the Hashimoto thyroiditis. For the hypothyroidism, it means that your thyroid hormones are not enough. Now, if your thyroid hormones are not enough, what usually we do is to give you a synthetic form of a thyroid hormone, which is said is called, she's on thyroxine. She's on, so externally taking in levothyroxine, that's actually the levothyroxine, to be giving your body like the normal levels of thyroxine that you need. Now, somebody may also have had hyperthyroidism or a goiter, and then when the gland is removed, as I said, the thyroid hormones are important for the body's function anyway. So when you go through surgery and probably they remove the thyroid gland is removed, that means that it may so happen that your thyroid hormones the thyroid will not be producing enough hormones into your system, for which reason in that case you are always giving the medication to be adding to yourself.
So that means it's not curable.
It is curable.
She's just treating it.
In the case, probably
she's had it for 23 years.
She has hypothyroidism, and she's boosting it with the thyroxine. Now, we said that if you have hyperthyroidism, your body is in overdrive, and so you lose weight.
Right. But she is saying that she's gaining weight due to the drugs that she's taking.
So then I'm thinking that probably she now has hypothyroidism. So the opposite is for hypothyroidism, that we begin to put on weight instead of losing weight for the hyperthyroidism. So in the case, once she's put on her normal levels or normal dose of her thyroxine, it should balance out. In any case, you can always go back to her GP or a doctor to review frequently checking the levels of the TSH and the
balance
T3
it out, so that the weight loss will be
because even after the surgery, we don't just let you go like that. We still want to make sure you have normal levels of. So if the whole thyroid gland is removed because probably it's a tumor, it's a cancerous, supposedly your thyroid is a cancerous one, they have to remove everything. But when it's removed, you still need thyroxine in your system. So you are giving oral thyroxine to be taken every day.
Okay, so you advise her to go back to her doctor to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good morning, William.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, please go ahead with your contribution.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the program. Yeah, please, I want to find out from doctor. There's this swelling normally which I have at the end of my teeth. Gets swelling. I want to find out from doctor.
I'm sorry, please, can you repeat that, William?
Yeah, I have a swelling.
Where?
At the back of the teeth.
At the back of?
The teeth.
Your teeth?
Yes.
Okay.
And it swells up and then it goes down again. It's off and on. So I want to find out from the doctor if thyroid glands normally happens only in the neck or it could happen in the mouth too.
Okay. Thank you very much, William, calling from Accra. Doc, is that any relation to thyroid?
No, anything about your tooth is dental. It's got nothing to do with your thyroid. As I said, the thyroid it has a specific location on your windpipe.
But you did also mention yesterday that it's connected to a lot of various body parts.
Yes, it is its effect. It releases hormones into your circulation and affects your metabolism. Now, there can be other anterior neck swellings. There can be other swellings on your neck. It doesn't always mean it's a thyroid. The thyroid has this specific morphology or structure. Now, there are some times that you have, as I said, the thyroid when it's swelling, when you swallow, you try to swallow, there's a visible movement. But
I just swallowed. Did you see that movement?
But there are other kind of swellings, like with the thyroid, when you protrude your tongue, for example, the thyroid will not move up. Well, if somebody protrudes the tongue out, and then there's a movement of a mass, then that one is something called a thyroglossal cyst. So that means that it is a thyroglossal. Glossal is for the tongue. So it's a cyst that is connected in some way to the movement of the tongue. So there may be different ways of differentiating between these diagnoses. But the thyroid has got nothing to do with anything in your mouth.
Okay, so William has nothing to worry about with regards to thyroid. This is strictly a dental problem.
Respiratory tract problem. You can cough because you have bronchitis. Your bronchos or the bronchioles are inflamed. You can have infections in them, and when you cough, usually if you have that kind of bronchitis, there are sometimes you can cough and you may see blood. Again, if you are coughing and it's a chronic cough for over some time and you are seeing blood in it, one of the things you might want to rule out is the possibility of pulmonary tuberculosis, and especially if it's associated with weight loss and you sleep and then you have night sweats and all that, then we'll be looking at those ones. So we don't take symptoms in isolation. And let me take this opportunity to say this, that usually as medics we don't take symptoms in isolation because you cough and you have blood in it means automatically you have TB. We have to get the things work in tandem. So we look for other things that may be associated and say that you have this. But definitely coughing with blood in it does not necessarily mean you have a thyroid problem, unless of course you have a huge goiter that has compressed even on your trachea. As I say, it swells outside, swells backwards in. That is causing compression, and therefore, and if it's a tumorous one, if it's a cancerous one, then it can eat into your trachea and then cause ulcerations, etc. But if you don't have those swellings there, that one is purely respiratory. It could be even tracheitis, the inflammation in the trachea, producing phlegms, and you try to cough, and the kind of pressure you exert, the kind of force you exert in trying to bring it out may even cause you to have blood in it. Or somebody may be vomiting profusely, vomiting recurrently, especially pregnant women. When they vomit and say they see blood in the day, is trouble. But it's because of the excess vomiting. It causes retching at the base of the esophagus from the stomach. So sometimes they view esophageal cuts over there, and then the blood will come out. It's no need to panic. Just your doctor will sort it out and make sure that once you reduce the vomiting, eventually that one too would reduce. So having the blood in your cough does not necessarily mean it's a thyroid problem. It's more of a respiratory tract, which would have to be investigated. So you take some of the sputum to the lab, we'll do a culture on it, we'll do what we call the ZN stain, or look for acid fast bacilli for tuberculosis. If all these things are ruled out, probably you just be put on normal antibiotics and you should take care of it.
Should be fine. Okay. Now, before we go, apart from obviously taking adequate iodine to avoid goiter, what other things can we do to avoid any of these thyroid diseases that we've been discussing?
Where it is caused by an autoimmune condition like Graves' disease, which will have effect on your eye and everything, like the first caller, as Ali was saying, she had Graves' disease, so then she had to be put on medication. You cannot do anything about autoimmune stuff. Lupus, you've heard of lupus?
Yes.
Yeah, it's autoimmune. Somebody who's asthmatic, it's a form of your body reacting or dealing with you and trying to help you, but then killing you, doing fukumfu kind of thing. You know, that's your body.
So these are things we have no control over.
We have no control over.
They will happen anyway.
Yeah, but for the endemic goiters, that one is talking of eating the right foods, like seafoods, for example, things that are very rich in iodine. So you have good iodine levels. It's that not cause your thyroid gland to swell. Other conditions where you want to say they want to avoid having thyroiditis is for you to have it and then it's treated. You have it treated. And again, you see, sometimes even viral infections can affect your thyroid and can put it into thyroiditis. I give you an example of a lady who got totally paralyzed.
Yes.
She was having high temperatures and everything, and she was losing the weight, and everybody thought she also had HIV, and every investigation was done. It was nothing until we settled on the thyroid, and it was just declavian thyroiditis. She was put on medication, treated, and now she's put back home. She's back to work. She got married and everything. So it's something that we need to be looking out for, especially when you are realizing that you are feeling too warm all the time, you are sweating too much, your palms are always warm. That means that you may be in hyper. And if you are also the type who cannot tolerate cold, then you are probably hypo, because your thyroid is supposed to put you in balance so that you can be able to adjust to all these kind of changes in the environment. So if you are putting on excessive weight, you don't understand, you are having, your palms are always cold, you are always feeling cold, and if you are always also having, you can't tolerate heat, your palms are warm, your heart is beating fast all the time, you are palpitating, the slightest thing you do, you are tired, then it should be, sometimes, a lot of time we look elsewhere, but it could be a thyroid
problem. You should see your doctor and have it checked out. Okay, many thanks, Dr. Bote, as always. Very kind of you to come in and educate us on thyroid diseases. This has been the health segment with Dr. Bote, proudly sponsored by Lipton Tea, inspiration flowing from nature. Stay with us, we'll be back with more.